now know that the hour has come to begin today's hearing. Clerk, will you please call the roll to take attendance? Members who are in attendance will please indicate that you are present when your name is called.
Councilmember Bass. Councilmember O'Neill. Councilmember Squilla. Councilmember Phillips.
Present.
Councilmember Landau.
Present.
Vice Chair Brooks. Chair Gilmore Richardson.
I am present. Also joining us today for this Committee on Law and Government hearing is Councilmember Nina Ahmad. Thank you. A quorum of the committee is present, and this hearing is now called to order. This is a public hearing of the Committee on Law and Government regarding bill numbers 260-264, 260-457, 260-458, 260-459, 260-460, and 260-076, as well as resolution numbers 260-270, 260-467, and 260-094. Clerk, will you please read the title of the bills and the resolutions?
Bill number 260076, an ordinance providing for the submission to the qualified electors of the City of Philadelphia of the proposal set forth in a resolution approved by council proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter relating to the creation of the Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission and authorizing and directing the appropriate officers to publish notice and to make arrangements for the special election. Bill number 260264, an ordinance providing for the submission to the qualified electors of the City of Philadelphia of the proposal set forth in a resolution approved by council proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter to provide for the creation of a Creative Philadelphia, to provide for the powers and duties of such office, and to otherwise provide for incorporation of the office into the city government, and authorizing the appropriate officers to publish notice and to make arrangements for the special election, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 260457, an ordinance providing for the submission to the qualified electors of the City of Philadelphia of an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter to change city procurement procedures and requirements fixing the date of a special election for such purposes, prescribing for the form of ballot questions to be voted on, and authorizing the appropriate officers to publish notice and to make arrangements for the special election. Bill number 260458, an ordinance amending Section 17103 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Bonds Relating to Procurement Contracts to amend requirements related to performance and payment bonds on certain contracts and providing for disclosure and monitoring of the board acquisition cost, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 260459, an ordinance amending Section 17109 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Local Bidding Preferences by establishing a new category of bid preference for businesses that are both local and small, and amending definition, certification, goal setting, and reporting requirements, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 260460, an ordinance amending Chapter 17-1400 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Non-Competitively Bid Contracts, Financial Assistance by updating references and exclusions, all under certain terms and conditions. Resolution number 260094, a resolution proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter providing for the creation of the Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission and providing for the submission of the proposed amendment to the electors of Philadelphia. Resolution number 260270, a resolution proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter to provide for the creation of Creative Philadelphia and providing for the submission of the amendment to the electors of Philadelphia. And resolution number 260467, a resolution proposing an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter to change city procurement procedures and requirements and providing for the submission of the amendment to the electors of Philadelphia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the work of the committee clerk. The chair will now recognize Councilmember Ahmad, the sponsor of legislation, bill number 260076 and resolution number 260094 for remarks.
Thank you, Chair Gilmore Richardson, for holding this important hearing and for guiding this bill through the process to get us here today. I know the committee has a full agenda, so I will be brief. And I want to start by saying this is about making sure our most vulnerable and most precious constituents are taken care of. This is really about our children in Philadelphia. So before you is a proposed change to our city charter. It would create a Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission, a permanent body, and an independent body in an advisory capacity. Every day, the city makes serious decisions about children and families. The people who live through those decisions, parents, caregivers, and young people who grew up in the system, are too often the last ones we ask about how it actually works. This commission gives them a permanent seat at the table. I want to be clear about where this idea came from. It did not come from City Hall. It came straight from constituents who asked us for it. And it is not starting from scratch. There's already an executive order that created this commission. What we are doing today is putting it into the charter so it lasts no matter who holds office. The commission will do three things that matter to everyday Philadelphians. First, it will hold the Department of Human Services accountable. Second, it will bring transparency with public meetings, public records, and a yearly report on the state of child welfare in this city. And third, it will help people understand what DHS actually does every day, because most people only hear about this department when something goes wrong. There's a lot of good things that are happening to support our families. Let me say also that what the commission cannot do, it cannot investigate individual cases. It has no power to force an agency or this council to act, and it cannot dig into confidential family records. This is oversight in the open, plain, and simple. But what it does is make sure we are the eyes and ears reporting back to all of Philadelphia. Madam Chair, this hearing is packed, and I know our witnesses have given up their time to be here. I want to thank each and every one of them for testifying today. Your voices are exactly why this commission hopefully will be existing. And most importantly, you're going to be in the legislative history that you cared enough, you came here, Philadelphia cares about their children. And to anyone here who wants to help build this or who needs support along the way, please reach out to my office. We want you to be involved in this work. This is your commission as much as it is ours. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I look forward to the testimony.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmad. We truly appreciate all of your work on this bill and resolution. Clerk, will you please call the first panel we have to testify on bill number 260076 and resolution number 260094.
Kimberly Ali, Commissioner, Department of Human Services.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for being here, to you and to your team. Please state your name for the record, and then you can proceed with your testimony. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Kimberly Ali, Commissioner for the Philadelphia Department of Human Services. Good morning, Chairperson Majority Leader Catherine Gilmore Richardson and Vice Chairperson Kendra Brooks of the Committee on Law and Government, Councilmember Dr. Nina Ahmed, as well as other members of City Council. My name is Kimberly Ali, and I have the honor of serving as Commissioner for the Philadelphia Department of Human Services, DHS. Joining me today is Deputy Commissioner of Child Welfare Operations, Robin Ciappellini, as well as other members of my team. Today, we are here to provide testimony on Bill number 260076, Resolution number 260094, that proposes an amendment to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter to create a Community Child Welfare Commission. The Department of Human Services, DHS, is the county's child welfare and juvenile justice agency. Our mission is to serve Philadelphia's children, youth, families, and communities by building on their strengths and advancing safe and supportive environments. Our work at DHS is deeply rooted in the following goals: more children and youth remain safely in their own homes and communities, more children and youth reunified timely or achieve other permanency, a reduction in the number of youth in residential placement, and improved children, youth, and family well-being. DHS continues to assess the child welfare system in order to build on its strengths and to address its challenges. In doing so, DHS has seen tremendous gains in our child welfare system, which is evidenced by, during fiscal year 2025, DHS provided prevention services to over 1,700 families rather than the formal child welfare system. Additionally, there are 1,582 children and youth receiving services in their own homes and communities, which provides support to their families and prevents them from being separated from their loved ones. As of today, there are 2,248 children in the child welfare placement, which is down from 5,111 in 2020. This amounts to 2,683 less children in care, or 56% reduction in the number of children and youth who are in the child welfare placement. We prioritize kinship care when a safety threat cannot be controlled and a child requires placement. Placing children and youth with kin lessens the trauma that they suffer because they are placed with a family member or someone who knows the child or youth while we work to reunify the family. At DHS, 44% of children are currently placed in kinship care, which is above the national benchmark of 38%. We are also becoming less dependent on residential placements. There are 135 youth in child welfare residential placement. That is down from 468 youth in 2020, a 71% reduction in child welfare residential placement. At 7.4% of our placement population, DHS is below the state average of 13% and lower than the national average of 9.5%. There are elements of this measure that DHS supports, including a child welfare system that is transparent and one that elevates the voices of individuals with lived experience. As a transparent child welfare system that also operates under the Child Protective Services Law, DHS publishes on its website quarterly and annual indicator reports that highlight the aggregate child welfare and juvenile justice data. This data provides insight into the child welfare system from when a call comes into the DHS hotline through case closure. DHS also embraces the voices of youth and families by way of our family team conferences and our crisis rapid response meetings. These meetings are facilitated by DHS social work supervisors who bring the family, youth, their support systems, and partners that are involved with their case together to develop a plan to stabilize the family. Additionally, in order to ensure that voices of individuals with lived experience are not only heard, but are integrated into DHS began hiring peer specialists. We currently have 2 young adults and 2 parents with lived experience who are employees of DHS. That's correct. They are civil service employees, and their role is to help inform policy, practice, training, and monitoring evaluation at DHS. DHS recognizes that it is accountable to the people that we are here to serve. Therefore, we are already in the planning stages of reinstituting the Child Welfare Advisory Board. Given this, DHS welcomes the opportunity to work with Council Member Dr. Ahmed's office and other members of City Council on the establishment of this commission. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. Please note that I typically stay for the entire duration of City Council hearings when I am called to testify. However, immediately after my testimony, I have to travel to Harrisburg for a state roundtable meeting with the Administrative Office of Pennsylvania Courts, Office of Children and Families in the Courts. These meetings are invaluable as they serve as another tool to help me and my team improve Philadelphia's child welfare system. I'm looking forward to partnering in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Commissioner Ali. We appreciate your willingness to be here this morning, particularly with a very, very busy schedule and having to travel to Harrisburg today. Very briefly, are there any questions for Commissioner Ali before she must depart? Seeing no questions from members of the committee, Councilmember Ahmad, do you have a question for Commissioner Ali?
I know we're moving quickly, so I want to thank you for your testimony. We have conversations, so we're good. We're good with this. Thank you.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure you were okay. Thank you very much, Commissioner. We truly appreciate your willingness to be here this morning, and safe travels to Harrisburg. Will you stay to give, are you here to give public testimony? You're traveling together. Received. Just state your name for the record so that we can notate for the stenographer that you're here.
Yes, Robin Ciapolini, Chapolini, Deputy Commissioner for Child Welfare Operations.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both so very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Clerk, will you please call panel 2?
Stephanie Arbutina, Vicky Melvin, Otis Bullock, and Keisha Hudson.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for being here. Please approach the witness table, state your names for the record, and then you can proceed with your testimony.
I'm Stephanie Arbutina, Children First.
Yeah, please proceed.
Good morning, Chair Gilmore Richardson and members of the Law and Government Committee. I'm Stephanie Arbutina, and I serve as the Vulnerable Youth Policy Director at Children First. I'm here today to urge you to establish a Child Welfare Commission in the Philadelphia City Charter because our children and families deserve a system that's transparent, accountable, and most importantly, centered on their voices. Philadelphia has long recognized the importance of community engagement in child welfare. A community oversight board was created in 2007, continued under Mayor Nutter, and reestablished by executive order in 2018 under Mayor Kenny as the Child Welfare Oversight Board. For years, that provided a critical space for board members, stakeholders like us, DHS leadership, parents to review data and discuss system performance. When those meetings stopped in 2024, they left a serious gap in public engagement and accountability on systemic issues. That gap matters because the challenges in child welfare are real. For years, Philadelphia placed more children into foster care per capita than any other major city in the country. While, as you of course heard, current Department of Human Services leadership has truly made meaningful progress in expanding prevention and diversion services, keeping more families together, Philadelphia still lags behind its peers. Recent data shows that 3.2 children are separated from their families for every 1,000 children in the city. In FY25 alone, 1,044 children were removed from their parents, more than the total number of removals in Cook County, Illinois, despite Chicago having about 3 times the population. And while fewer kids are entering foster care, outcomes for those who do are poor. Family reunification has declined to about a third of cases. More than 10% of children who return home re-enter care within a year, and more young people are leaving the system not to a permanent placement, so without that forever home. Behind these numbers are real people and real painful experiences. Families report being asked to sign documents they don't fully understand. They're unaware of directly how to access available support like food or rental assistance that could stabilize their homes. They report feeling unheard in court and fear being labeled non-compliant for just asking questions. To be clear, DHS has taken significant steps forward, especially its investment in prevention and community-based services and that engagement with families on the individual case level, and we are grateful. We commend that work. But the accountability structures haven't kept pace. Existing data reports are inconsistently available, focus more on the compliance measures over measures of family and child well-being, and really lack the context we need to understand trends and systemic issues. A Child Welfare Commission would fill a major void. Embedding it in the city charter provides a permanent, consistent, transparent, community-centered structure where those with lived experience have a real seat at the table, helping interpret that data, shape policy, and co-designing solutions. This is an opportunity to institutionalize transparency, build public trust, and most importantly, improve outcomes for children and families across Philadelphia. I urge you to take this step and move the legislation forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning, Chairpersons Gilmore Richardson and members of the Committee on Law and Government. My name is Keisha Hudson, and I serve as Chief Defender at the Defender Association of Philadelphia. On behalf of the Defender Association and Board of Directors, thank you, and thank you to Councilmember Ahmad for the opportunity to speak in support of Resolution 26009400, creating a Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission. In addition to our criminal practice, the Defender Association represents children and youth involved in dependency proceedings through our Child Advocacy Unit. Every day, our attorneys and social workers advocate for young people navigating separation from family, placement instability, unmet behavioral needs, school disruption, and aging out of care. Last year alone, we represented more than 1,400 children and youth in over 5,700 hearings. We support this resolution because Philadelphia needs a permanent, independent, community-rooted body focused on how the child welfare system impacts children and families. Too often, the people most affected by the system are excluded from conversations shaping it. Families and youth live with the consequences of these decisions every day, but rarely have a meaningful role in evaluating whether the system is truly keeping children safe, supporting families, and improving long-term outcomes. At the Defender Association, we have seen firsthand the value of including impacted youth and families in institutional decision-making. Through our Youth Action Board and Peer Advocate Program, young people with lived experience help shape our advocacy, training, and priorities. Their perspectives consistently challenge professionals to think differently about support, safety, trust, and permanency. Our peer advocates, many of whom have personally navigated the dependency system, build credibility and connection with young people in ways traditional system stakeholders often cannot. Working with and hearing the experiences of these young people has taught us an important lesson. Systems improve when impacted youth and families are treated not simply as clients, but as partners in reform. For that reason, we respectfully urge this committee to ensure that youth with lived experience are explicitly included as commission members. We strongly support the introduced amendment to Councilmember Ahmad's charter change that allows for compensation of commissioners, ensuring participation is accessible and does not depend on someone's ability to volunteer unpaid time. This proposal reflects an important truth. Child welfare systems work best when impacted youth and families are not only heard, but empowered to help shape policy and practice. Thank you, and I'd like to yield the balance of my time to Dwayne Price, one of our peer advocates in the Child Advocacy Unit.
Good morning, Chairman and members of City Council. Thank you, Chief Hudson, for yielding your time. My name is Dwayne Price, and I'm a peer advocate with the Child Advocacy Unit with the Defenders Association of Philadelphia. In my current role, I work with young people navigating the dependency system, bringing 10 years of my own lived experience within the child welfare system to this role every day. Because I have walked in their exact shoes, I can build a level of trust that traditional professionals often struggle to reach. In my experience, if we want to bridge the gap between high-level policy and real-world challenges children and families face, treating impacted youth, young people, and families as true partners is what could work to create real change. That is why ensuring that children and young people with lived experience, including those who have transitioned out of the system, have a direct seat on this commission. I believe that this is what would work best. The insights of a young person currently navigating foster care are irreplaceable. I constantly see young people whose trauma is consistently worsened because they are caught in the intersection of both the dependency and delinquent systems. And no adult, no matter how well-meaning they are, can fully duplicate the current day-to-day perspectives of a child in foster care. Putting children and young people directly on this board is what could work to keep this commission genuinely community grounded. And from where I sit, building these practical steps, practical pieces into the framework is what would be best to ensure this commission creates lasting change for the community. So thank you for your time and for considering the perspectives of young people we serve. I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony. Please state your name for the record and proceed.
Good morning. My name is Vicki Melvin. I am the Chief Operations Officer at the Philadelphia Children's Alliance, and we are the only child advocacy center for the city of Philadelphia. We are accredited by our National Children's Alliance, and we serve as a national model for child advocacy centers across the country. For nearly 40 years and for over 40,000 children, we have led a collaborative approach to how child sex abuse, extreme neglect, and witness to violence is confronted, supported, and managed in our city. Philadelphia Children's Alliance provides one-on-one services to child victims and their families, and also step-by-step approach to healing, recovery, and justice. Philadelphia Children's Alliance cannot do the work that we do without our relationships with our city partners. We provide each and every child with the support they need to ensure that they don't fall through the cracks of our child welfare system. We rely on the work alongside our city partners, the Department of Human Services, the Special Victims Unit of the Philadelphia Police Department, the District Attorney's Office, St. Christopher's Hospital for Children, and Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. We also work very closely with the School District of Philadelphia and provide prevention services and education to our children. This year, we have served over 2,500 children in our school district. It is this collaborative approach that allows us to work very closely with our families, but we would not be able to do that work without the input of those families and children that we serve. We utilize their lived experiences and their expertise to do our work. Child exploitation is an insidious epidemic. It crosses every social, economic, and cultural landscape, and has a reach, especially digitally, and it is expanding at an alarming rate. A Child Welfare Oversight Committee with clients who have had lived experience would be able to address this matter and allow us to tackle the issues together from every possible angle. PCA supports the Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission and Dr. Ahmad's intent to continue to strengthen the long-standing relationships across the city that serve the children and families of Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony. You can state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Dr. Councilmember Nina Ahmad, Councilmember Phillips, Councilmember Landau. I saw Councilmember Squilla here earlier, Councilmember O'Neill, and good morning, Councilmember Thomas. Thank you for having me. My name is Otis Bullock. I am the CEO of Greater Philadelphia Community Alliance. I am pleased to be here in support of the creation of a Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission. At GPCA, our mission is to break the cycle of generational poverty by ensuring equitable distribution of resources for vulnerable children, families, and communities. We are headquartered in the heart of South Philadelphia with 9 locations that provide services across South Philadelphia from river to river, Southwest Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, and even Northeast Philadelphia. We believe in transformative change and are dedicated to making it happen, one family, one community, and one policy at a time. At GPCA, we take a 2-generational approach to achieve our goals, seeking positive outcomes for both children and their caretakers at the same time. We focus on 4 pillars of service: children and youth development, family development, community development, and housing and economic empowerment. GPCA believes that the ultimate goal of the Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission should create alignment. When a family is involved with DHS, they are often overwhelmed by multiple uncoordinated entities. By ensuring that all professionals, from case managers to city leadership, operate with the common goal and share communication, we can significantly increase the speed and quality of positive outcomes for Philadelphia's children and families. When a family receives services from the child welfare system, they become attached to an abundance of services. This can create confusion in the continuum of care. It's imperative that all professionals are on the same page when it comes to identifying family needs and how we address those needs. This will allow us to increase positive outcomes in a timely manner. We all must have a common goal and a common strategy for ensuring the safety of our children. I think it's important to note, and I think some of the other commenters hinted on this as well, is that poverty is not abuse. GPCA's Community Umbrella Agency reviewed data from about half of the children currently served by our agency. This included about 165 children who were referred to KUA-9 in May of 2025 due to safety-related concerns. And from that review, several common circumstances and challenges impacting children and families emerged. We saw housing instability and basic needs concerns. We saw substance abuse concerns. We saw physical abuse, neglect, and sexual abuse, abandonment, lack of supervision, truancy and educational concerns, behavioral health, parent-child conflict, or ungovernable youth concerns. We saw sometimes caregiver absence or no available caregiver resource. And then sometimes the referrals was just invalid or unfounded. In reviewing this breakdown, we believe that it really waves a yellow flag stating that there are supports that are needed for these families. That families needing support does not necessarily equate to abuse or neglect. It shows the types of resources that interventions needed to matriculate a family out of DHS care. Philadelphia has significant need for supportive housing, and children, families exposed to the trauma of child welfare should be given top priority in these resources. This type of prioritization contributes to the ending of generational system involvement. The proposed Child Welfare Commission has the potential to provide accurate accounts of the barriers that families face, data to support a need for more community housing funding, and a coordinated approach by families, advocates, and this administration. Within child welfare, navigating the mental and developmental health of parents and children is also very nuanced. As CUBA service providers, we would greatly benefit from and appreciative from the expertise of the Philadelphia School District, the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services, and our own DHS leadership to assess whether there may be room for reform. This includes any future considerations for parents registered with IDS, or perhaps even specialized court hearings for older youth with complex mental health needs. One of the most significant benefits of the Child Welfare Commission is having multiple systems at the same table with people who can truly speak to how their systems function internally. In that space, each entity can present its processes, expectations, and barriers honestly. There then becomes an opportunity to identify where disconnects exist between systems and develop solutions that create a more streamlined experience for families. Many of our families are navigating too many competing systems at the same time. The goal should be to make life easier for children, parents, and caregivers to navigate it in ways that create stronger outcomes for generations that follow them. Again, I thank City Council and the Law and Government Committee for allowing GBCA to provide our input. We strongly support resolution number 260094 and bill number 260076, and we look forward to working further with both council and this administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your testimony. And for the record, I want to ensure that we're aware we received written testimony from Tracy Johnson, Youth Ombudsperson, City of Philadelphia. Are there any questions for this panel from members of the committee? You have a question? Okay, the chair recognizes Councilmember Landau.
Thank you. I'm going to kind of keep this broad. The problem was I had some questions for DHS, and I do really respect how much they have to get to Harrisburg. So kind of put them out there, and if this is, if you can't answer them or even speculate what the answers are, I'll just deliver them to DHS. But I'm just curious, we all know what the challenges are with DHS, and we've heard this over and over. We certainly have a disproportionate number of cases here in Philadelphia, and we're doing so much better than we did in the past. We also have a high poverty rate and are really absolutely don't want people to be punished for living in poverty, and this shouldn't be anything that is held against them. I'm currently fighting for a sum of money in the budget to recreate and bolster the help desk in family court. It's a place where families can go, receive resources, get help on their court cases, and I really do think some of this is going to be the one-stop shop that we need to make sure that people stay connected and have people on their side and their team. So I'm curious how you see the commission benefiting even the work that you're doing. Like how do you see it actually playing out on a day-by-day, including with an executive director, whether that's how that interplays. I read Tracy Johnson's, the youth ombudsperson's testimony, and she said, well, the one thing that the commission doesn't have is it doesn't have enforcement authority, but I do, so I will take this on. And so, one, how does the commission really work with to help solve these problems? And then two, what role would an executive director play?
that a question for me?
Well, it's a question for it's really a question for Director Ali, but, so do your best, and if not, I'm sending them to her.
One of the things that I stated in my own statement is the creation of alignment. I don't think the commission needs any particular authority, because the authority already exists within the administration and amongst you guys to enforce on recommendations. But what it does do is bring all the parties together. It's probably rare or probably never a time where all the competing parties are actually talking to each other, from the courts to DHS to the administration to the families to the advocates and even the service providers like myself, to all come together at one table, because we're all operating under different systems, different rules, and different competing goals. How do we get on the same page? I think the commission really helps us to do that.
I agree with Otis that that's a major strength, is that alignment. But and to just piggyback on that, I think I mentioned it. I did mention it in my testimony. But one of the other things you can do with a commission like this is co-design things together and look at things together. You know, if it's just led by the overseeing entity looking at the data, they can say from their perspective why a thing is happening or why a trend is looking the way it is. But when you've got families at the table, when you've got the folks working with them at a table that are working with many families, they can all say, well, here's what we experience, and that's why this is happening. And then they can say all together, what do we do about that? And then, you know, that can be programmatic decisions. That can be how those concrete resources are allocated to best support families. They are actually meeting the need, you know, and it's not just kind of one perspective that's looking at it. I'd be happy to talk a little bit more. I did some work on advisory commissions for a child welfare system, so there's a number of ways it could look. Happy to talk more about that offline, but that's probably, those are the two of the biggest strengths, is that co-work together.
I agree.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thanks. I'm good.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Prior to recognizing Dr. Ahmad for questions for this panel, I'd like to recognize the presence of Councilmember Mark Squilla, and I also saw Councilmember Isaiah Thomas. Please, Dr. Ahmad, proceed with your questions for panel 2.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will be brief. I was not going to ask too many questions, but I just wanted to be very specific for those who have had experience with the previous iteration of this commission. What was the best thing that worked there, and what was lacking in that? Because we're in the design process, and how you answered, thank you for answering my colleague's question exactly how I would have in terms of what the reason for this is. So if you could, anyone who's had experience for the prior iteration of this commission, if you could respond to that.
I can say that.
Hold on one moment.
Oh, sorry.
If you could just restate your name
sure.
for the record and speak into the mic. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Stephanie Arbutina with Children First. I'll say that it's my understanding that there was a portion of the Child Welfare Oversight Board meeting that was just for the members of the Oversight Board, and I was not on that. So I can't speak to that part, but there was a public portion in which the department presented its quarterly indicators data, and folks could ask questions of the department about that data. And so that was really helpful to not just be reading the thing that's posted online, but to hear the department's take on it, and then also be able to ask clarifying questions and have engagement there. That's from our perspective what was helpful. So really important space to interact about that data.
Thank you. So I just also wanted to make a brief comment about our peer, I'm not sure exactly what his terminology, but Dwayne. I wanted to thank you because you really highlighted exactly what this is about the lived experience that should inform us, because we're going to gather all this information from this commission to actually do something with it, right? So not only will it be informing the public, having transparency around that, having reporting on a regular basis, but more importantly, we're going to be taking that to see how do we then take this data, take this feedback, and to Dwayne's point, from the lived experience, there's nuance in this, and I think not having heard that nuance anywhere else before, it becomes really important. So I want to thank all of you for your testimony. I want to thank everyone who's here. We will need to continue to work with you so as we go forward, and we need to get this passed so then we can roll up our sleeves and really show the children. Children are watching us. They are watching us, particularly those in the system. What will you do for us? What have you done and what will you do? So we have to answer to them. So I thank you all for being here. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmad.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, are there any further questions for panel 2? Okay, seeing none, we thank you all so much for being here. There being no further panels to testify on bill number 260076 and resolution number 260094. Is there anyone else here who would like to give public comment on those bills? Okay, what I'll do is, please approach the witness table and you can state your name for the record.
My name is Julie Audrey Ward Carnegie. Thank you. Will do. Just need to put on my glasses.
Thank you so much for being here. If you could just state your name for the record and proceed with your public comment regarding bill number 260076 and resolution number 260094.
Yes, good morning, good day. My name is Julie Audrey Ward Carnegie. Good day, council members of Philadelphia, staff, members et al., assembly of participants supporting what I believe to be necessary change, a necessary alignment. I need my glasses on and I don't have them here. Do you mind? Are they reading glasses?
That would be helpful. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Council members
Appreciate you.
responding in real
Thank you,
time
council
to
members.
constituent requests.
All right, now
At
I
its
can read.
finest.
And yes, these are fine. Supporting what I believe to be a necessary alignment to improve the outlook for our children, youth, and young adults. Yes, Council Member at Large Dr. Nina Ahmad, a charter change for the creation of a Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission as a permanent independent body to advise city agencies and council closes the gap between what policy says and what families actually live through, is the progressive mode toward a coordinated family and child welfare policy. I request that upon voter participation approval to include Bill number 180888, co-sponsored via Councilwoman Cindy Bass and Councilmember Bill Greenlee. Please consider a revote to amend the Philadelphia Health Code, wherein drug manufacturers' agents would be required to register annually with the city's health department. I believe addressing this alongside the current initiative will provide a more secure foundation for the city of Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much for your testimony. We appreciate you being here and also the glasses. Thank you so much. There you go. They'll grab them. Thank you. Okay, thank you very, very much. We appreciate you being here today. And there being no further panels and/or witnesses to provide public testimony and public comment on bill number 260076. Okay. Are you here to testify on the child oversight legislation? Yes. So on the public comment list, I have Nicole Powers, Orlethea Waring, Vonay Hill, Kathy Welsh, Julie Ward, David Fair, and Phoebe Jones. Right. Okay. So, to keep it together. So you can all approach the witness table. Please state your name for the record, and then you can proceed with your public comment.
Good morning. My name is Vonay Hill. Good morning, Majority Leader Gilmore Richardson, Councilmember Dr. Ahmad, and all members of City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Vonay Hill, and I'm the founder and executive director of Linked Family Services, a Philadelphia community-based organization focused on family stabilization, maternal wellness, and prevention-centered support for caregivers and children. I appreciate the vision behind the proposed Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission because I believe it has the opportunity to provide another layer of oversight, accountability, and checks and balances for the department that I know has already begun making intentional shifts in how it serves children, parents, and caregivers. I also believe the commission creates an important opportunity for impacted families, community organizations, frontline professionals, and caregivers to help shape and a more proactive and responsive child welfare system for Philadelphia. Through our work at Link Family Services, we see every day how consistent relationships, concrete resources, emotional support, and prevention-centered engagement can help stabilize families before situations escalate further. One thing I have repeatedly said when asked why Link Family Services exists to bridge two worlds is this: you cannot talk about child welfare without talking about maternal and caregiver wellness. Ensuring wellness is about more than making referrals and expecting compliance. It means seeing families as people first and understanding that caregiver wellness, financially, emotionally, materially, and physically directly impacts child wellness and child safety. My perspective comes from multiple sides of this work. In addition to leading Link Family Services, I previously worked both as a child advocate social worker, solely ensuring the safety of children, and as a CUA supervisor, ensuring the stability of families. So I understand firsthand the complexity of child welfare systems, the importance of accountability, and the impact of a commission and the impact that a commission like this could have on the future of child welfare in Philadelphia. And because I believe systems, no matter which office, should ultimately equip families for long-term stability, one thing I've often told parents during my time as a direct child welfare professional is, I loved getting to know you and your family, but respectfully, I hope to never see you here in this space again. And I meant that with authenticity and care, because true success should not simply be case closure. It should be long-term family stability, caregiver wellness, and ensuring families leave systems feeling supported enough not to return in crisis again. I believe this commission has the opportunity to help strengthen the Department of Human Services even further and help strengthen Philadelphia's child welfare landscape by centering accountability, prevention, and long-term wellness of children and caregivers. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I look forward to continuing to engage in this process.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your testimony, and thank you for being here and for your work in the community. Please proceed. State your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Phoebe Jones, and I'm splitting my testimony with Carolyn Hill.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Hill. I'm here. We are Give Us Back Our Children, a grassroots group of mothers and others who have dealings with the child welfare system, along with supporters. We have been fighting cases and working to change DHS policies and practices for 20 years. Once a month for the last 3 years, we have been outside family court, DHS, arguing city council to implement a recommendation that came out of the Special Committee on Child Separation in 2022, especially anything that can be a remedy with concrete help shall not consider neglect. Open family court and don't take children from domestic violence survivors.
We are actually not in favor of a child welfare commission that is not specifically tasked with implementing those great recommendations, which will lower child removal rates, keep families together, and make children safer. We don't need one more bureaucracy to lobby, as it takes months or years to come up with other recommendations. It took 7 years for this one, and they're still not implemented. We don't have that time. We and our children are suffering now, especially those of us who are Black, are single mothers, or have disabilities. The Child Welfare Commission is supposed to be raising up the voices of the impacted, but our voices who have lost children to the system aren't being heard when we say, commission or no commission, we want City Council to implement the 2022 recommendations now. We want the concrete help that the recommendations highlighted to go to mothers to raise children, not to agencies to remove them. We say poverty is not neglect. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your advocacy and years of advocacy and for being here. And I will tell you that I've looked at your T-shirt because former Councilmember Blondell Reynolds Brown had a cloth with the exact same wording on a cloth. It was white cloth with purple writing. And everything that it says on your T-shirt, it was on that cloth. And she kept it in her office for 20 years in City Council, and she gifted it to me when I became a member of Philadelphia City Council. And it says, every mother is a working mother. Thank you very, very much. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Catherine Welsh. Good morning, Madam Chair, Councilmember Dr. Nina Ahmed.
Hold on one moment, ma'am. We need you to speak into the mic so that
I'm
the
sorry.
stenographer can hear you. Thank you very much.
Okay, and members of City Council. I'm a Philadelphia resident, and I care deeply about the child welfare system in the city and the children and families it serves. I began my career in child welfare in 1985. Since then, I have held positions in county, state, and federal government agencies, nonprofit agencies, and consulting companies throughout the United States, including with the Philadelphia Department of Human Services from 2005 until 2010. During the administration of Mayor John Street, a Child Welfare Oversight Committee was formed in response to the tragic death of Danielle Kelly. Oversight committees continued under various names through the Nutter administration, the Kenney administration. These expert committees and community stakeholders helped DHS form the Improving Outcomes for Children initiative, which included the creation of the Community Umbrella Agencies, or CUAs. Over a decade has passed since the first CUAs began serving families. The CUA scorecard was established in 2017, 4 years after the first CUA began serving families. Some of the original CUAs are no longer providing CUA services due to agency closure or liability issues. Staff retention at the CUAs is an issue, with 40% of the CUAs receiving unsatisfactory or critical ratings in the workforce domain in fiscal year 2025. Multiple social worker changes can severely disrupt the child welfare process, leading to placement instability, emotional distress, and delays in achieving permanency. Maintaining continuity in both placement and social worker relationships is essential for children's safety, well-being, and long-term success. High caseloads impact turnover. A time study could be done to determine how many cases a social worker should have, and caseload size should be revisited. Workforce recruitment and retention in child welfare is a national problem, not unique to Philadelphia. Rather than being overwhelmed by the issues that face DHS and the CUAs, this is an opportunity through the Child Welfare Commission to learn how the system supports its staff and what is necessary to retain good social workers. Research tells us that training and supervision, including field supervision, are key to retention. The Child Welfare Commission could advise on assisting DHS and the CUAs to develop clear messaging on how this model is intended to work, clarifying outcomes with metrics that are understandable at the systemic and the case level to determine if the work is being done well by DHS and the CUAs, engaging other systems that impact children and families, schools, hospitals, early intervention, courts, CASA, certainly those with lived experience, housing, behavioral health, public health. I believe that people work in child welfare because they want to keep children safe and strengthen families. Creating a culture that supports the success of children, families, and communities and the workforce is possible. Thank you for this opportunity to provide testimony today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your testimony. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning. My name is David Fair, and I am Executive Director of Turning Points for Children, which has been providing support to at-risk children and families for almost 2 centuries. I have also served in city government as the first director of the DHS Community-Based Prevention Services Division and as Director of Community-Based Children's Services for the Office of Mental Health. Councilwoman Ahmad's proposal for the establishment of a permanent Child Welfare Commission could be a critical solution, one that we need to address the concerns raised at the council hearings that were held last year. As a child and family advocate for over 30 years, I can confirm that the system would benefit greatly from a purposeful, transparent, and well-resourced commission of this type to continue its progress of the last several years. Under Commissioner Ali, the number of children placed in foster care has been dramatically reduced from 5,111 in 2020 to 2,248 as of today, a reduction of 56%. And half of those children still in care are living with relatives rather than strangers. This proves we can make progress. This is highly commendable progress, resulting from smart, committed leadership. And now we need that commitment and those smarts for the many other challenges in the child welfare bureaucracy that need to be addressed as well. There is still so much more that could be done. For many, if not most, child welfare workers, both public and private, unnecessary red tape and inefficiency at all levels still engenders trauma, frustration, and helplessness to both families and workers. The sad truth is that despite many efforts over the years to reduce these challenges, the system remains opaque to many of the children and families involved, while overburdening both DHS and COA workers with unnecessary bureaucracy. A well-led and well-funded commission comprised of parents and relatives, youth, advocates, DHS and COA workers, professionals, bureaucrats, I believe will create new momentum in addressing the many challenges still facing those of us working to protect children and families. It's critical that the question on the ballot next November be overwhelmingly endorsed by the voters. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony. Prior to recognizing the next witness, I'd like to recognize the presence of our council president, Kenyatta Johnson. He was here in the hearing, as well as council member Isaiah Thomas. I know that we have competing schedules today, as well as 2 additional hearings. So Councilmember Thomas, can I recognize you now for remarks on your bill and resolutions so that we can go back to public comment? Thank you.
Good morning. There we go. Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to all of the members of this committee for the great work you do for the city of Philadelphia. Thank you to Mayor Sherrell Parker, as well as Val Gay and the entire administration for collaborating with City Council and working together collectively to put this ballot measure, to put this initiative on the ballot to make sure that the office that is responsible for the creative economy in the city of Philadelphia is a permanent one. When we look at where we are, not just here in the city of Philadelphia, but really globally, the creative economy has become one of the most important means of not just communicating, but also an important means of revenue and the ability to collect revenue for individual artists, for arts-based organizations, both for-profit and nonprofit. And the conversation we're not having enough is revenue for cities. And so I'm proud to be the sponsor of this ballot initiative. I appreciate all of the members of City Council, especially my colleague, Councilmember Ru Landau, who's in that arts world with me, for supporting this initiative. And as I close out, Madam Chair, I have to actually say thank you to you, Madam Chair, because you know you and I together got into the arts and culture space when we were freshmen and COVID hit and we started the Arts and Culture Task Force, and that task force has been the driving mechanism of a lot of the work that we've done to continue to advocate for the community. So Madam Chair, just thank you for allowing me to give a few remarks. Thank you to my colleagues on City Council for supporting this initiative, and we're gonna ask the voters in the city of Philadelphia early and often to vote yes on this ballot measure come November. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Councilmember Thomas. Thank you for your great work in the arts and culture community, and we appreciate you coming by the hearing today. Again, we have competing schedules today. We have 2 additional hearings, so we thank you for your commitment to the arts and culture. Please state your name for the record. Now we're going to go back, and for the record, Councilmember Thomas was giving remarks for resolution number 260270 and bill number 260264. We are now going back to public comment on resolution numbers 260094 and bill number 260076. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your public comment.
Good morning. My name is Leah Hynansky. I work with Salvation Army New Day to Stop Trafficking, Philadelphia Anti-Trafficking Coalition, and Philadelphia Anti-Trafficking Advocacy Work Group. Thank you, Council, for hearing me today. Too much trauma and other life challenges, along with the inability or the choice not to process intergenerational trauma, creates a fear-based system. In my experience, the system in Philadelphia has been fear-based for way too long. I am so grateful for the establishment of the Philadelphia Child Welfare Commission, and I think it is long overdue. Every time I come to City Hall, I stand by the Orphans Court sign and I say a prayer for my mom, who grew up in Feltonville on East Loudon Street, often with no heat as a young girl, with 10 nieces and nephews, a psychologically ill brother, a mentally unstable but well-intentioned mother, and a violent but loving father. Her parents immigrated here from Ukraine during World War I. My grandfather worked as a carpenter in the Navy Yard, and my grandmother worked in a cigarette factory. There was so much violence in that household. My father's family is a part of the last million to arrive in the USA after the last displaced persons camp were liberated from Germany during World War II. They were forcibly moved from Ukraine to work in Germany. They came through New York and got jobs on a migrant farm in Maryland. There was so much violence in that household. They married and were trying to learn to parent and pay for too many children. Space was full of love, but too much trauma. Even though they had the best intentions, they were young and times were very different then. There was so much violence in that household. I suffered an unbelievable amount of physical harm due to the inability to tolerate and process and look at the traumas. And I was trafficked as a young child, and it derailed my whole life. The stigma involved with mental health care was too big for them and for me and when I was young, and there was no ability or choice to deal effectively with the truth. We are at an age now where we understand trauma and we understand that it is survivable. We can learn to live with it and walk beside it and in a sense, make friends with it. We do not have to constantly combat it and run from it. We can walk with it, grow, and learn when we are ready. It's as if I'm watching it all on rinse and repeat all these years later. The Ukraine war is raging, there's so much war all over the world, and it breaks my heart that it's happening again. But it inspires me to work even harder to be an advocate for change. A lot of people believe in ruling by the hand. If you are hit hard by someone that you love, then maybe you won't test the system and die at the hands of the authorities. Call me naive, but I would love to see a trust and love-based system with boundaries and healthy consequences. You must be safe, heard, and loved to function well. Nobody wants to see children and youth end up in foster care, on the street, or in the prison system, working backwards to move to success that they deserved all along in their lives. Philadelphia is a beautiful, diverse, and empowered community. This is their voice, the way to communicate with other government agencies so that proper law and policy can be created. I know that Philadelphia can vote yes for this on the ballot question when it comes up. We can trust and support children from the beginning and rework the system without judging one another in the process. We can keep kids out of the system and rework it with faith in our children. Philadelphia's kids are the toughest and most resilient children that I have ever encountered, and they deserve only the best. It might take time, but it can work. Every soul comes onto this planet wanting safety and love. My parents wanted that in their childhood, and I know that they deserved it. And all of Philadelphia's children deserve that hope too. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your public comment. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your public comment.
My name is Orlethea Hamilton Warren. And
hold the mic up so we can hear you.
My name is Orlethea Hamilton Warren. Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to apologize. I was so excited to testify today that I left my papers at home. So I'm using my phone.
It's all good. Thank you.
And I do have readers already in here. So please forgive me.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for allowing me to speak today. In 2010, 2022, my life changed forever. My husband was accused of the unthinkable, hurting our 16-year-old daughter. But the accusations didn't come from her. It came from someone I trusted for 7 years, my therapist, who already had conflict with my husband. And from that moment, our nightmare began. DHS was called. Suddenly, everything I said was twisted to fit their narrative. The more I insisted my husband was innocent, the more I was threatened. I was told my daughter could be taken away and that I could go to jail for not protecting her. At the meetings, I was yelled at, belittled, and disrespected. One statement still echoes in my mind. A worker looked at me in front of my daughter and said, "I can't believe he had a whole grown woman, but instead wanted to mess with a child." I thought DHS was supposed to help families, not tear them apart. Meanwhile, my daughter was misled into thinking that she was getting a new home until DHS discovered that she had type 1 diabetes. Then the supervisor coldly said, "Well, we'll have to rethink this." The accusations forced my husband to resign from the school district where he'd worked for over 20 years. He was arrested and charged without a shred of evidence. I had never felt so alone until I began researching DHS and false accusations, and what I found was devastating. We were not the only ones. Families all over the country had lived the same nightmare. But instead of letting it break me, I let it fuel me. I went back to school, determined to help other families like mine, families who are innocent but destroyed by the system meant to protect. In the end, my husband was found innocent of all charges, and along the way, we learned something life-changing. Our daughter is highly functional autistic level 3 with sensory challenges. What was once seen as suspicious behavior was simply misunderstood neurodivergency, a tickle. So we went through all of that for a tickle. I know what it feels to be mislabeled, misunderstood, and unheard. I've seen how it can strip someone of their dignity, but I also learned something powerful, that healing is a form of justice. And when people reclaim their voice, they don't just transform their own life, they transform their family, their community, and their future. And I would like to say that this is very important to me because I'm still alone. My husband has not come home, and we're still living apart because we're too afraid that if it happens once, it'll happen again. So I haven't lived with my husband since March of 2022. So this commission to me is very important because it's no reason why we aren't living together, married.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing your story and for your testimony. I am so sorry about what happened to your family all over a tickle. I'm so sorry, but I appreciate your advocacy and for being here today. And if there's any way that we can continue to help and support at this point, please let us know what we're able to do to try to help or facilitate anything that could be helpful to you all. I'm so very sorry that you all went through that and are continuing to go through it. The chair recognizes Councilmember Dr. Anthony Phillips.
Thank you, Chair. I also just want to echo the sentiments of our chair. Your testimony by far was the most compelling one I heard today for why we need this commission. So thank you so much for being brave enough to share this important story because it's helpful for not only us in City Council, but I'm sure it's a helpful testimony for a lot of those who are listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much again for your testimony, and thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. Anyone else here to provide public comment for bill number 260076 and resolution number 260094? Okay, seeing none, we will now proceed with bill numbers 260457, 260458, 260459, 260460, and resolution number 260461. 467. I also like to recognize the presence of Councilmember Jeffrey J. Young. Clerk, will you please call the first panel we have to testify on bill numbers 260457, 260458, 260459, and 260460, and resolution number 260467.
Will Ronald Hovey, Commissioner of the Procurement Department?
Thank you so much for being here. Please approach the witness table. You'll state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony. Per the witness list that I have available for questions, Nadir Jones, Director of Office of Business Impact and Economic Advancement. We've also received written testimony from Michelle Flamer, Esquire, Garrett O'Dwyer, Policy Director for PACDC. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony. I apologize. I am going to take the testimony now since it's just one person for this panel, and then we'll end with the creative economy. I apologize that I went out of order. Please proceed.
Good morning, Chairperson Gilmore Richardson and members of the Committee on Law, Government. My name is Ronald Hovey, and I'm the Procurement Commissioner. I'm here today to provide testimony on bills number 260457, 260458, 260459, and 260460, as well as resolution number 260467. This legislative package was introduced by yourself, Majority Leader Gilmore Richardson, on behalf of Council President Johnson. I'm joined today by Nadir Jones of the Business Impact and Supplier Diversity Department in the Office of Business Impact and Economic Advancement. I want to thank you for this opportunity to testify today. The Procurement Department, along with the Office of Business Impact and Economic Advancement, is proud to be working closely with the Council President's Office on this package of legislation, and we support the package in its entirety. Together, the legislative package will, one, increase economic opportunities for Philadelphia residents and businesses by lowering barriers to participation in local and small business preferences, increasing the threshold under which such preferences are available, and increasing the bidding credits for local and small businesses. Will ease the cost of doing business with the city by providing a mechanism to limit the effects of such direct costs as bonds, and simplify the participation requirements for local businesses. With respect to the various bond relief items in 260467, we particularly support the bond cost bid exclusion for LBEs and SBEs. However, the other bond-related preferences conflict with Commonwealth's bonding requirements of 8 Public Statute 193.1, requiring payment and performance bonds in full amount of the contract. As such, including these provisions in the bill may increase confusion. This legislative package is complementary to the unilateral actions of the Department of Procurement and the Office of Business Impact and Economic Advancement that we are taking to streamline and improve our procurement processes and increase accessibility for small and local business services in our communities. These actions include reorganizing procurement. We've created a new shared service unit named the Philadelphia Vendor Cooperative under the Department of Finance and Procurement to provide high-touch, concierge-level service to our vendor community and to a single source of truth to our vendor-related processes, systems, and data. We are piloting the centralization of all procurement operations in the Procurement Department with a select group of departments. And we are reorganizing the Procurement Department to be ready to manage in a consolidated structure in the future, all with a mission of enabling more efficient and strategic procurement for the city. In the interest of making contracts and solicitations more accessible to businesses, particularly small and local businesses, We're about to engage a firm to rewrite and modernize all of our document templates that would be contracts, RFPs, and bid requests. We're redesigning our business processes and consolidating our procurement systems to eliminate redundant work for our bidders, such as performing once-and-done pre-qualifications, guiding new firms through becoming an LBE or SBE, and retaining company data by vendor rather than by project, to reduce or eliminate repeated requests for information and data. These are just a few of the highlights of the steps that we've embarked upon to make it clear that Philadelphia is open for business, that we are increasingly intentional about our engagement with our vendor community, and that we are constantly working toward a business-friendly ecosystem that lifts up Philadelphia workers and businesses while more efficiently delivering the needed goods and services of the city and its residents. Finally, I want to emphasize that this legislative package is just the first in a series of forthcoming legislative packages that will be needed to bring the city's solicitation, contracting, and vendor procurement operations into the 21st century. The Parker administration has additional legislation coming as soon as this fall. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on these bills, number 260457, 260458, 260459, and 260460, as well as resolution 260467. My colleague Nadir and I are happy to answer questions that the committee has.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony, and thank you also for being here today. I wanted to thank the two of you for working with Council President Johnson and the team here at City Council relative to this proposed small business program. So just wanted to thank you for sort of helping to pull together the infrastructure, the logistics, and the continued vision for economic opportunity in the city of Philadelphia. So thank you very, very much for being here. Are there any questions or any additional questions for these witnesses? And we know we work with you all ad nauseum in those meetings, so we appreciate you. Any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, we thank you very, very much for being here. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. We've done a lot of work with the team in advance of this hearing, so we appreciate that work in advance. My team asked if I needed anything, and I would say yes, glasses. I apologize to the creative economy and arts and culture community for bypassing your page in my script. So we are going to take a very brief recess to give you all an opportunity to prepare to come and testify. The clerk will again call the panels, but we will hear from Valerie Gay, Chief Cultural Officer, Creative Philadelphia, Patricia Aiden Wilson, and then we have written testimony from Tom Collins of the Neubauer Family, Executive Director and President of the Barnes Foundation. So we're going to take a very brief recess and return in 5 minutes. Thank you. Clerk, will you please call the first panel we have to testify on bill number 260264 and resolution number 260270, and respectfully we'll have Councilmember Landau provide opening remarks.
Valerie.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I appreciate you. And thank you, everyone, for being here today and for your patience. These hearings sometimes do go long, but as most of you know, I'm a longtime supporter of the arts and culture sector here in Philadelphia. I've collaborated with Creative PHL since my very first days in office. Many of you stopped by my office to see one of the rotating exhibits curated by our arts liaison, Lauren Rinaldi, and even more have seen the exhibits they create that Creative PHL creates all over the building. Creative PHL has become a cornerstone of my work here, and I'd like to uplift and cement the work they've done in not just our city hall, but our entire city. In the current budget process, I've repeatedly and loudly been advocating for funding to Philadelphia's Cultural Fund, which will uplift the smaller arts organizations throughout Philadelphia. Last year, I was proud to secure $5 million, and this year, I hope we can increase it to $6 million. Already, we've seen hundreds of people sign on to our petition in support of this funding. It's clear that Philadelphia values the arts. It's clear that we value the impact it has on our communities, and it's clear that Creative PHL has been a major part of that success. That's why Councilmember Thomas and I agreed to this partnership on the Creative PHL ballot initiative. Because we, like so many Philadelphians, see the value that Creative PHL adds to our city. Well, whether it's in the public artwork scattered throughout our neighborhood, the accessible performances, or the many resources available for individuals or families to explore the arts in their communities, Creative PHL has left their mark, and we need to keep the mark there and here. A ballot initiative like this one will take what I heard from my artist survey in 2024 and put it into practice. Artists want a place to turn to for guidance, for resources, for amplification, and for community. Creative PHL is that place. Creative expression should never depend on the whims of whichever administration happens to be in power. Philadelphia's artists deserve permanence, stability, and support. I'm excited to move forward with a possible amending to the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter in order to establish and define the functions of Creative Philadelphia and continue to work alongside them and Councilmember Thomas to promote our incredible arts, culture, and creative economy sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Councilmember Landau, and thank you for all of your work in the arts and culture community. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. My name is Valerie Gay. So Chair Gilmore Richardson and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of this legislation establishing Creative Philadelphia as a permanent office within city government. I am Val Gay, Chief Cultural Officer and Executive Director of Creative Philadelphia, and I'd also like to say I'm also representing Chief Deputy Mayor Vanessa Garrett Harley. I appreciate the opportunity to speak in support of this legislation and to share why making Creative Philadelphia a permanent office matters for our city. In fact, actually, Councilmember Landau just laid out everything I was going to say, so this will be repetitive. I also want to thank Councilmember Thomas for sponsoring resolution number 260270 and for Councilmember Landau joining him to co-sponsor bill number 260264. Philadelphia is a city whose identity has always been deeply connected to arts and culture. For the city, our creative community drives tourism, fuels neighborhood economies, activates public spaces, supports small businesses, strengthens education, and contributes to public safety and quality of life. We also know that arts and culture are deeply personal. We can all remember our first live concert or the first time we witnessed beautiful works of art in a museum. Mayor Parker often talks about her humble beginnings and the role the arts has played in her life. Being exposed to music, dance, and poetry early in her life transformed the way she experienced the world. Like Philadelphia, it is a part of her story as well. Yet, historically, the structure responsible for stewarding arts and culture has experienced periods of uncertainty and instability. Over multiple administrations, the office responsible for arts and culture and the creative economy has been reduced, restructured, or effectively eliminated through funding changes and administrative shifts. The work itself never disappeared because the need never disappeared. And today, public art still requires stewardship. Artists still require support. Communities still gather around music, dance, exhibitions, festivals, and cultural expression. Philadelphia's identity remains inseparable from its creative life, and this legislation recognizes that reality and creates continuity regardless of our future political cycles. In addition, our work sits at the intersection of many of our policy goals. We see arts as economic development. We see arts as prevention. We see arts as neighborhood activation. We see arts as public safety. We see arts as public health and well-being. We see arts as a tool for creating stronger communities. We have seen music and creative expression support violence prevention initiatives. We have seen cultural programming activate public spaces and strengthen neighborhood identity. We have seen artists contribute to the economic opportunity and small business growth, and we have seen arts create the sense of connection and belonging that makes people feel invested in their communities. Creative Philadelphia serves as a steward of much of that ecosystem. We oversee public art, support artists and cultural organizations, coordinate citywide initiatives and partnerships, convene stakeholders, and connect arts and culture to broader city priorities. We also believe that a healthy cultural ecosystem is one in which all arts and culture can thrive in Philadelphia. That means our world-class legacy institutions that attract visitors from around the globe. It means our culturally specific organizations that preserve, celebrate, and elevate the many communities and traditions that make Philadelphia unique. And it means our grassroots and neighborhood-based organizations that often serve as the first point of connection, belonging, inspiration, and opportunity within communities. Making Creative Philadelphia permanent recognizes that this work is essential. I want to emphasize that this is not about creating permanence for a person. It is about creating legacy and permanence for civic responsibility. It protects continuity. It protects stewardship. It protects the long-term health of Philadelphia's cultural ecosystem. We often say Philadelphia is a city of neighborhoods. I would add that Philadelphia is also a city of creators. Every day across our city, people are making meaning, making beauty, and making opportunity, and making community. And it sends a clear message that arts and culture are not optional for Philadelphia's future. They are fundamental to it. So thank you so much for your leadership, your partnership, and your consideration of this legislation. I also want to acknowledge the arts and culture community represented here in this chambers and via their submitted written testimony. In addition to Tom Collins of the Barnes Foundation, Dr. Ashley Jordan of the African American Museum in Philadelphia, who is represented by Samantha Biles here, has also submitted written testimony. And I'm happy to respond to any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Valerie Gay, for your leadership in the creative Philadelphia space, but for all you have done. I don't know how many of us remember many years back when we had our Black History Month program here in council, and it was all because of your steadfast leadership and work. And I just appreciate all that you do for our city. You are just a wonderful joy to have in leadership in creative Philadelphia, and have to add a Girls High girl. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I also see a Local 77. We thank you all so much for being here. We thank you for your presence. Appreciate you as well. And all of the creative economy partners who work with us and understand the importance of investing in and supporting the local creative economy in Philadelphia and what that means for our residual economy. And so we appreciate that work. It's something I've done for a very long time, back to my staffer days with former Councilmember Blondell Reynolds Brown, who was an ardent supporter of arts and culture, as well as working with Councilmember Isaiah Thomas, who has really been leading the charge on this effort and introduced this legislation, and now with many colleagues who too believe in the importance of making our creative economy permanent in Philadelphia. So thank you very, very much. The chair now recognizes Councilmember Landau, and then we'll ask Patricia Aiden Wilson if you could just approach the witness table so we can take your testimony. We have several other hearings and meetings today, and we need to wrap up in the next 10 minutes. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your testimony, for all the work you do, and thank you to everyone who is here representing the arts community. You really do add so much to our city, and we can't thank you enough for what you give to us. I have a couple of questions. I'm going to make them in one, and would just love to hear the answer. I've been watching how different funding streams have been either precarious or even stopped when people kind of are midstream in projects, and learning much more about the effect of that. Can you talk to a little bit more about what does it mean to arts organizations throughout the city, maybe giving some examples of what happens when funding and permanency does not exist? What message does it send to arts organizations when there is permanency, and what can arts organizations actually expect to build on when there is that permanency and real continuity?
Sure. So a couple of things. I think, first of all, having the instability, just like any organization or any foundation, if the foundation is unstable or unstable, then the building above it is unstable. And so if we think about funding as part of stability and leadership as part of stability, whenever there's inconsistency there or a limited, if you will, amount, then that is also inconsistent. It's very difficult to lead an organization. It is very difficult to plan programming. Oftentimes, folks will receive a one-year grant, which is wonderful. But we all know, even when we're running our own households, if we don't know what's coming in the next year, we're spending an inordinate amount of time trying to raise money, more so than trying to actually run the things that we are doing. And so that instability is there. So multi-year funding is really important, first of all. Secondly, in Philadelphia, we have a large number of independent artists who work outside of organizations as well as inside of organizations. And that makes us a very robust community. I would say what I'm about to say impacts both the individual creatives as well as the organizations. So when we don't know where to go, one, it is very difficult to have just programmatic dollars and not have general operating dollars. So the general operating dollars are the things that keep the lights on. Oftentimes we will hear folks, is less now, but still the philanthropic community sometimes, or any funders will say, well, we're only gonna pay for programming. We don't wanna pay for general operating. What is left out of that general operating are the people, the other issues. And so if we have no one to cover that, that also creates an unspoken instability. So you could give someone $1 million grant to do a particular program, but I'm not gonna touch these other things. It's a very difficult way to run an organization and to support our community. We need to have funding so that our entire community, the people in the community who are running the communities, or this community, to have these general operating dollars which act as the foundation, on top of which we can then build our programming. So I say that at the individual level. So for example, at the Illuminate the Arts grant that has come primarily through our partnership with Councilmember Thomas's office. The grants that we give to these independent artists and small business, creative businesses. And so what you're hearing too, it doesn't matter the structure, whether you're an individual, a nonprofit, or a for-profit entity in the creative economy, the issues remain the same. Many of them have said the same thing. This money that we receive that has no structure on it, sometimes will be the thing that keeps my lights on. Sometimes is the money that I need to pay my rent. It actually, we get notes, I have letters from folks saying, this money allowed us to have our children have food this month. On the other side, we hear from organizations, small and large, saying people take us for granted because we are a large organization, but they don't realize that these general operating dollars allow us to hire more people from Philadelphia who are on the margins, if you will, that our lowest level, if you will, skill level employees are often the people that we champion in other sectors, but they're in the arts. And then finally, these small organizations who are receiving these general operating dollars say, just like the individuals, these dollars kept us in business. And so, and thank you for this opportunity just to talk about that, because we don't often as a sector get to talk about the importance of the difference between programmatic and general operating, and we need both.
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you so much for underscoring the importance of unrestricted grant dollars and how it can really help local artists in our city. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning. My name is Patricia Wilson-Aden, and I am the President and CEO of the Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance. I will be brief, but I do want to say I am so honored to testify before this committee this morning in support of Resolution 260264, calling for the permanence of Creative PHL. As the leading voice of Greater Philadelphia's arts and culture sector, the Cultural Alliance works to amplify the needs, priorities, and impact of our region's creative economy. We proudly represent more than 400 member organizations across the region, over 300 of them located right here in the city of Philadelphia. Our membership reflects the full breadth of Philadelphia's cultural ecosystem, large and small organizations, artists and creative entrepreneurs, and institutions rooted in neighborhoods across every zip code and councilmanic district in this city. Many of those organizations are represented in this room this morning. Seeing so many members of our community here with us today is a powerful, tangible demonstration that Philadelphia's arts and culture community, an active civic force that generates $3.3 billion in economic impact, believes that arts and culture policies must be treated as essential to Philadelphia's future. Establishing a permanent arts office has long been a goal of Philadelphia's cultural sector. So much so that the Cultural Alliance and our partners identified changing the city's charter to establish a permanent office as one of 5 key priorities that we believe will have a transformative impact on our sector in the city as a whole. A permanent office led by a qualified cabinet-level leader will provide the stability, visibility, and accountability needed to fully leverage the power of Philadelphia's creative economy. It signals that arts and culture policies are not an afterthought, but a core component of strategies that drive Philadelphia's economic growth, support neighborhoods, create jobs, attract tourism, and improve the quality of life for our residents. It will be the administrative manifestation of recognizing arts and culture policies as an integral asset to realizing a bold vision of our city, bringing Philadelphia on par with New York City, Chicago, Seattle, and other cities committed to leveraging their creative sectors to fuel their economies, generate jobs, and enhance the well-being of their residents. We applaud this committee for recognizing this opportunity and for taking action to establish a permanent office that will champion Philadelphia's artists, cultural organizations, and creative entrepreneurs while helping strengthen our world-class cultural ecosystem and boost our robust creative economy. The Cultural Alliance and our partners look forward to working with City Council and the administration in support of passage of this critically important change to our charter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your detailed testimony. And again, for underscoring that $3.3 billion in economic impact. The chair recognizes the presence of Councilmember Cindy Bass, member of Council's Committee on Law and Government. Are there any questions for this panel? All right, okay. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips.
I have a quick question, if you could just respond quickly too. Do you see, how would this commission help certify that there will be more funding for the arts and culture community, more revenue as a result of this, not commission, but this permanent office, excuse me?
Sure. So I think, first of all, representation matters, and having a seat at the table matters. And I think the evidence or the proof of concept is what we've been able to do so far. And so we are on the precipice of bringing to you our first ever cultural master plan, which we're very excited about. Embedded in that is funding opportunities, but also from an administration perspective, when the mayor gave her budget address and embedded in the proposed budget is funding for arts and culture in a way that we haven't seen before to implement our cultural master plan. And so these kind of go hand in hand, if you will. So having the actual plan as well as the leadership to help drive the plan in partnership with our private sector.
I'd like to answer that as well. What we're talking about here is building the infrastructure for arts and culture. And it takes many parts. It takes a strong cabinet-level representation. It takes an office that provides stewardship for our arts and culture resources and contacts and technical assistance for creative entrepreneurs, individual artists, and others. But it also takes that funding. What we're talking about when we establish this permanent office is an essential part of that infrastructure that will be reliable even as we go from one administration to the next. And that's something that we haven't had in the past. It's the surety that Philadelphia will have that arts and culture infrastructure in all of its components as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Chair now recognizes Councilmember Cindy Bass.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you all for being here today and for your testimony. And as the former chair of the Committee on Parks and Rec and Arts and Cultural Affairs, this is something that has been discussed before. I'm glad to see it moving forward. I think the timing is right. And it's good to know that there is such a recognition for the value of arts and culture in all of our neighborhoods. And so one of the things that I would really want to press and see upon you all is that every single corner of our city has an opportunity to see artwork in a way that it hasn't. Artwork is plentiful in Center City and, sort of like, more affluent neighborhoods. But, I would love to see more artwork in the neighborhoods I represent in North Philadelphia and Feltonville and, Nicetown and Tioga and Germantown. All of these are areas that are kind of like art deserts. So I really want to press upon you that as we move forward with making this thing a real office here in the city, something permanent, that we also make permanent the commitment to being in every single neighborhood, particularly low-income, underserved neighborhoods. So
I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much for this, because as a Philly John from Southwest
say you're a Philly John?
I am a Philly John. And I moved back to my community in Southwest Philly. I call it Operation Back to the Hood. Having raised my daughter in Old City, I know firsthand the discrepancy. I see it.
Yes.
I've seen it.
Yes.
And we're bringing art to more communities. So my lived experience gives me even greater fuel that we can be both. We can be a world-class city where folks are coming from around the world to see our amazing museums and go to the Avenue of the Arts. And we can be a world-class city for us in our own communities. And so while I want as many people as possible to come down to Center City, I also want people to be able to thrive in their communities. And I'm just going to point out my former colleagues over here at the Barnes who do that so well in West Philadelphia, and they're moving into North Philly and doing a bunch of things, but really bringing art where people are.
Yes.
And saying that your art, your expression is important, and we acknowledge it, and we want to share what we have, but we also want to see what you have, and we want to do that all over the city.
Yes, excellent, excellent. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again for all of your work, and thank you for being here. Are there any additional questions or comments for this witness and for this panel? The chair recognizes Councilmember O'Neill.
Just following up on my colleague Cindy's strong recommendations. Far Northeast Philly is kind of a cultural desert in its own right. It's also the highest area in the city of English as a second language. And you put that together, the one thing that binds us is kids. And schools, whether they be charter, public, Catholic, other, is a place where we really got to start them when they're young, when they're, when they love anything that's artistic. Even things that they're doing that are not necessarily going to make it to the Museum of Art, but for that child, it really is meaningful. And to keep that going, I think this is an opportunity for the world is your oyster kind of, once this office gets permanent and is made permanent, and I think it will be. But it's a lot of work by our colleague, just as on the other bill, the at-large members get to do this kind of stuff, and we all in our districts appreciate it. But I would just focus on the schools, not necessarily where the deserts are, because if you go out into the schools, you're going to hit every neighborhood. It's not going to matter.
Thank you.
And people in the Northeast should know as much about the Barnes as people in West Philly. Okay?
Agreed. Thank you. Last year, we did 14 arts and culture town halls, one in each district physically and 4 online. And to your point, Councilmember O'Neill, we heard the same language used in Council District 10 as we did in Council District 8 or 9, which is that, oh wait, this is an arts desert. People are not paying attention to us. We really need art here. We want to work with schools. And so I am really proud that we have a strong relationship with not only the Philadelphia School District, as well as other districts, if you will, or the independents, as well as the Mayor's Office of Education. And so that is absolutely on our radar, and to make sure that as many people as possible have the opportunity to experience the arts.
Thank you.
I'd like to comment on that as well. The connection between exposure to the arts and educational attainment is well documented, so you're exactly right. Providing children with arts experiences can transform their lives. Low-income children who are exposed to arts have better attendance records. High school students who are exposed to arts score 100 points higher on their SATs. That means that they're getting into colleges of their choices. That changes the trajectory of their lives. We do have areas that might not have as robust arts organizations or activities, but what I will say is let's recognize the breadth and diversity of our cultural experiences. So while we talk about the visual arts and the performing arts, let's also recognize our heritage sites. Let's recognize our green spaces. All of these things contribute to our cultural heritage and offer opportunities to enrich not only the lives of our young children, but our seniors as well. Finally, I'd like to say that one thing that we're working on together is exploding the myth that working within the creative economy is not a viable career option. We want children to understand and parents to appreciate that children who are engaged in the arts can, in fact, follow their dreams and their passions and find viable careers in arts and culture. That's why the Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance has a program called the Bloomberg Arts Internship Program, where we take rising high school seniors and we give them viable jobs. We're paying them $20 an hour. We're giving them stipends for travel, and we're making sure that they have the opportunity to work with cultural sites throughout our city in every single council-managed district so that they have a choice between working in McDonald's or working at Glen Ford. So these are the ways that we are working together to make sure that we have that infrastructure that really leverages the opportunities and potential of our creative economy.
Madam Chair, I really appreciate that. When the numbers can back you up, it's always a stronger argument. But the other place I wasn't thinking about, but it's right in front of me, is our playgrounds, our rec centers, our rec leaders. And a lot of times it's a tumbling program, a dance program is in a very small building sometimes, is the first introduction to the arts of a child. And so even Stephen with the schools should be our programming in our rec centers. And I think this office can have a great impact on that.
Thank you, absolutely. And we do have also a very strong relationship with our Office of Parks and Rec and Commissioner Susan Slauson, who is a great partner for us.
Yeah, if you're going to do it while Susan's here.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Councilmember O'Neill. And I must add, based on the testimony that we just heard, that I'm grateful for the partnership that we are undertaking and have for the last 4 or 5 years now with Live Nation Urban and one of their senior VPs, Brandon Pankey, who's also a Philadelphia Public School graduate by way of Masterman. But we will have our program for the young people in advance of the Roots Picnic, where they will have the opportunity to see behind the scenes jobs and careers around festivals and work in the arts and culture space that you don't normally think about. And so that program will be Thursday, tomorrow, back of course, at Belmont Mansion. So we're looking forward to hosting our young people again from our public school system for their behind-the-scenes tour of the Roots Picnic. So I had to add that in because it's tomorrow. The chair recognizes Dr. Anthony Phillips.
Thank you. I just had a quick question for you to respond possibly in less than 30 seconds. When is the arts master plan projected to be completed? I just want to get a better sense. If I missed that, I apologize, but the master plan, the plan that you talked about, the creative plan for the city of Philadelphia, when would that be completed?
We hope to have it in front of you all when you come back in the fall. So our goal is to have, starting in September, to really start to implement.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And also suggest our commercial corridors
as
spaces to activate art, because most of these neighborhoods, people use the commercial corridors.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony, and thank you for being here. Seeing no further questions for this panel and for these witnesses, we will now ask the two individuals who will have public comment to approach the witness table.
Irene Foley.
Okay, please state your name for the record, and please give an abbreviated version of your public comment. We have one more hearing, so we gotta give the stenographer an opportunity to turn over. Thank you. Please proceed.
My name is Stephen David Edwards. Thank you for the opportunity. CEO of Silent Philly. That's an entertainment brand here in Philadelphia that's been bringing Philadelphia together for 11 years. So I categorize myself and my company as, prior to there being a One Philly mantra, there was Silent Philly, which is a event that has 3 different DJs. They do 3 different types of music, but more importantly, they do all music. So I do want to tell the city, I want to speak on what Val said, that she brought up one good point about it being not just about funding, but funding yearly, right? That's very important. Just a little story. I mean, our company is 11 years of us doing this, bringing the city together. And I'll tell you something that, touched my heart when I found out you were in Parks and Rec, Ms. Bass, is there was a critical time in our company where we were on the ropes. It was during COVID, and our company was not getting ready to go. It was going down, and we got a call from Mark Wilkes, I believe. And Mark Wilkes gave us a grant to allow us to do Silent Philly parties out in the blocks to keep the social distances in Philadelphia, and that's what kept our business alive that year. Fast forward to this year, Michael Newmas identified us and our brand as a leader, and we got one of those grants from the city of Philadelphia to put on the event. So last year, we did a One Philly Festival after the mayor. It went really good, and this year with that grant money, we're doing it again this year, but bigger, with Philadelphia Freeway performing, and what we'll be doing is bringing 10 of the best genres of music that Philadelphia has to offer under one roof. So we'll have music from R&B, classical with my guys here in the Union, jazz, hip-hop, R&B, Latin, gospel, and I'm asking all of you guys, I'm hoping to see your faces there. That's going to be on July 10th. I'm working with Councilman Squilla for that, so it's going to be an MLB All-Star activation. That's what I got these. So thank you for the funds. I definitely appreciate you. And then the last thing I want to say before I leave is this. I feel you guys are very spirited in giving, very spirited of giving us our praise, the citations. I've been coming to City Council all year this year to see what you guys do. But one thing that I do ask of you is to also to bring awareness to what we do, because I'm throwing a FIFA pre-kickoff celebration party here in Philadelphia, right here in City Hall on June 6th, right? But we don't see anything about that on the Visit Phillies. We don't see anything about that on the CCDs. But we do see the Live Nation urban stuff. So we need to see the local people who work so hard to bring the city together. We need it to be awareness. It should be flyers all up in City Hall saying, hey guys, guess what? You work here, why not come party in the courtyard, right? I am a local person. You guys did give me money to do these things, so help me. And that's what I'm asking. But thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you for your great work. And listen, I need you to help us help you. So if you can get the flyers that you're specifically referring to, particularly for this summer's activations, to me as the chair, I'll be sure to disseminate it to all members of the committee and all members of council.
Thank you so much.
And then I'll personally commit to, once we receive it, ensuring that we have the flyers placed on all the boards.
We just want to show the tourists how we party here in the heart of the city on June 6th from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Okay, we'll get them up on the boards.
Thank you.
Just get them to me, okay? And we'll get them up on all the boards on all 4 quadrants.
Thank you.
Okay?
I look forward to working with y'all this year.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And congratulations to you. You've been doing a really good job. I remember seeing you throughout the year, so congratulations. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
My name is Irene Foley Court, also known as Rose Love.
I'm proud to be a city resident and an independent artist as part of Philadelphia's vibrant creative community. My mission is to spread love and joy wherever I go and whenever I perform. I've experienced this city as a welcoming, supportive place where artists and self-expression can thrive. I believe the arts provide healing, inspiration, connection, and growth for people from all walks of life. When creativity is encouraged, both individuals and communities become healthier, more compassionate, and more open to innovative solutions to many problems. My own lived experience is a clear example of this. Please provide the funding requested and make Creative Phil permanent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here as an independent artist. And I'll say, I love your outfit because it reminds me of my birthday, which is Valentine's Day. So thank you. Spreading love and joy in Philadelphia. So thank you very much. We truly appreciate you being here. Is there anyone else here to testify whose name has not been called or to give public comment whose name has not been called? Okay, seeing none, we will now proceed and conclude the public hearing. We will now begin the public meeting on the previously mentioned bills and resolutions. And clerk, will you please call the roll to take attendance? Members who are in attendance will please indicate that you are present when your name is called.
Councilmember Bass.
Present.
Councilmember O'Neill. Councilmember Squilla. Councilmember Phillips. Councilmember Landau. Vice Chair Brooks. Chair Gilmore Richardson.
I am present, and for the record, during our previous hearing, we had Council President Kenyatta Johnson, Councilmember Ahmad, Councilmember Thomas, and Councilmember Jay Young. Thank you. A quorum of the committee is now present. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on the amendment to resolution number 260094.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I offer an amendment to Resolution 260094. A copy of the amendment has been circulated to all members of the committee. I move that the amendment to Resolution number 260094 be approved.
Second.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that the amendment to Resolution number 260094 be approved. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. The amendment to resolution number 260094 has been approved. The chair now recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on resolution number 260094 is amended.
Thank you, Chair. I move that resolution number 260094 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260094 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading of this, as to have a favorable recommendation from committee. All those in favor of the motion will signify by stating aye. Aye. Oppose? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. And resolution number 260094 as amended will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on bill number 260076.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that bill number 260076 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council.
Second.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that bill number 260076 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. The chair now recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on resolution number 260270.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that resolution number 260270 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260270 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor of the motion will signify by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Resolution number 260270 will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on bill number 260264.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that bill number 260264 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that bill number 260264 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Bill number 260264 will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation with a request that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading at the next session of council. The chair now recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on resolution number 260467.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that resolution number 260467 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It's been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260467 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Resolution number 260467 will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on the amendment to bill number 260457.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I offer an amendment to bill number 260457. A copy of the amendment has been circulated to all members of this committee. I move that the amendment to bill number 260457 be approved.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that the amendment to bill number 260457 be approved. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. The amendment to bill number 260457 has been approved. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on bill number 260457.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that bill number 260457 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded. The bill number 260457 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Bill number 260457, as amended, will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, with a request that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading at the next session of council. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on bill number 260458.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that bill number 260458 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that bill number 260458 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Bill number 260458 will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, with a request that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading at the next session of council. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on the amendment to bill number 260459.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I offer an amendment to bill number 260459. A copy of the amendment has been circulated to all members of this committee. I move that the amendment to bill number 260459 be approved.
Second.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that the amendment to Bill Number 260459 be approved. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the amendment to Bill Number 260459 has been approved. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on Bill Number 260459 as amended.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that Bill Number 260459, as amended, be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council.
Second.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that Bill Number 260459 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Bill Number 260459, as amended, will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation with a request that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading at the next session of council. The chair now recognizes Councilmember Phillips for a motion on Bill Number 260460.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that Bill Number 260460 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council.
Second.
The chair notes for the record that Councilmember Bass seconds the motion. It has been moved and properly seconded that Bill Number 260460 be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will indicate by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Bill Number 260460 will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation with a request that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading at the next session of council. There being no further bills or resolutions on the agenda, this concludes the business before the Committee on Law and Government today. We thank you very much for your attendance and also for your participation. Thank you.